Okay, good day, class. So today we are going to tackle Module 2. Ang Module 2 natin is under pa rin Unit 1, which is the level of organization. And our Unit 2 is entitled Cell, Tissues, Glands, and Membranes. So before we study the different organs and systems of the human body, we need to start with the smallest unit. So, ano ba itong smallest unit na to? So, this smallest unit is what we call the cell. So, we all know that cells work together to form tissues. Tissues form organs, and organs work together to keep our body alive and functioning. Today, we will learn how these parts are organized and how they work together. So, let us discuss the discovery of cell. Kung sino-sino kayo nag-discover ng cell. But before that, think of your own body. So, how does a small cut heal? Why does our heart keep beating? How does our skin protect us? So, all of these processes. So, as future nurses, understanding cells and tissues will help you better understand how the body works and what happens when diseases affect it. Now, let us now tackle kung sino-sino yung mga nag-discover ng cell. So, uunahin natin si Rob. Siyempre, kapag nababasa or naririnig natin yung pangalang Robert Hooke, ang unang-una nating maaalala sa is the word cell. So, bakit? So, si Robert Hooke, he was the first person to name the structures cells. So, paano na naibigay yung terminong cell? Si Robert Hooke, he used a compound microscope to observe a very thin piece of cork. So ano ba yung cork class? So iba yung cork yung sinasabi nila na yung takip daw ng isang wine glass. No, iba yon. Yung cork na ginamit dito ni Robert Hooke is a living organism, which ang cork is ito yung balat ng isang kahoy. But yung cork na ginamit niya is hindi lang siya basta-basta balat ng kahoy, kundi this is the outer bark of an oak tree. So upon his observation, he saw many tiny box-like spaces that look like small rooms. So ito yung mga small compartments. So because these spaces, all small rooms, look like small compartments where monk lives, tinawag niya itong cells. Kaya meron tayong terminong ginagamit ngayon na cell. So for us to easy understand, Robert Hooke discovered or termed the word cell. And next, we have also Anthony van Leeuwenhoek in 1674. And we all know that Anthony van Leeuwenhoek is the father of microbiology. Bakit kaya siya tinawag na father of microbiology class? Do you have any idea? Okay, so bakit siya tinawag na the father of microbiology? Because he was the first person to observe living cells and microorganisms using a microscope. So, hindi lang basta-basta microscope ang ginamit niya, kundi ito ay sarili niyang inimbento mismo. This microscope is very simple but a powerful one. So, ano-ano ba yung mga microorganisms or living cells na in-study or na-observe ni Leeuwenhoek? So, si Leeuwenhoek, he improved the microscope and used it to look at the different samples. So, yung mga different samples na yun is the bacteria, protozoa, sperm cells, and red blood cells. And all those living organisms na inobserve or inexamine ni Anthony van Leeuwenhoek ay tinawag niyang animalcules ang mga ito. So, bakit kaya niya ito tinawag na animalcules? Ano ba kasi ang animalcules? So when we say animalcules, ang ibig sabihin nito, it is a small or tiny animals or small living creatures that move under his microscope. Na gumagalaw sila mismo sa kanyang microscope noong ine-examine niya ang mga ito. Kaya niya tinawag na animalcules lahat ng living organisms na inobserve niya. And we have also Matthias Sladen and Petersman. So, unahin muna natin si Matthias Sladen in 1838. So, ano naman ang nadiscover ni Matthias? So, ang nadiscover niya is that all plants are made up of cells. So, paano? So, Sladen studied many different plants under a microscope. So, he noticed that plants were made up of many tiny structures called the cells. So, from his observations, he concluded that the cell is a basic unit of plants. So, yun naman yung na-discover ni Matthias Sladen, which plants are made up of cells. Next, we have also Petersman in 1839. Ano naman kaya ang na-discover ni Petersman? So, ang na-discover naman ni Petersman class is all animals are made of cells. So, paano? So, kagaya lang din ni Sladen. So, this one studied animals' tissues using a microscope. So, he found that animals were also made up of cells. Gaya lang nung plants. So, his work helps scientists understand that cells are the basic units of animals. Now, we are going to tackle or to review kung ano nga ba ang cells. So, pag sinabi natin ang cell, ang ibig sabihin nito, it is the basic unit of life in which a cell is the smallest basic unit of life. So, think of a cell as a tiny living factory. So, it has different parts and each part has a specific job. So, parang yung different parts lang ng ating body. So, there are different parts of our body and those different parts ay may kanya-kanyang role or a specific job for our body to function. So, the human body is made up of trillions of cells. Imagine, ang dami natin cells. So, those different cells have different jobs. For example, muscle cells help us move, nerve cells send messages, and red blood cells carry oxygen. Now, let us discuss the three generalized cell structure, which are the plasma membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Take note, class, this three is the three generalized cell structure. So, ito siya. So, unahin muna natin sa plasma membrane or otherwise known as the cell membrane. So, plasma membrane is the outer covering of the cell. So, parang siya yung pinaka-skin no cell. So, for us to easy understand, think of it as a gatekeeper or security guard of the cell. So, isipin lang natin na ang plasma membrane is para siyang security guard ng cell, which the security guard, it protects the cell and decides what can enter and what can leave. So, para siyang pulis na kung saan siya yung nagde-decide kung sino ba ang papasok at kung sino-sino yung mga lalabas. So, ano po yung function ng plasma membrane or the cell membrane? So, the function of it class is to protect the cell, to control movements of substances which goes in and goes out, and of course to maintain homeostasis. So we all know that homeostasis, it helps keep the cell's internal environment stable, or sa atin naman, ito yung paraan kung paano nagiging stable yung internal structure of our body. So, we have also cytoplasm. So, ano naman si cytoplasm? As you can see in the illustration, cytoplasm is the jelly-like fluid or material inside the cell. So, anong function nito? So, yung jelly-like fluid, siya yung nafe-fill ng fluid inside of the cell. And it contains organelles also, in which those organelles are suspended within it. And also, ito yung site of many metabolic reactions where many of the cell's chemical processes happen inside the cytoplasm. So isipin na lang natin ang cytoplasm is para siyang workspace or working area of the cell on which the cell's organelles are found within it and many chemical reactions happen there. So for example, if yung cell natin is para siyang factory, the cytoplasm is the area where many of the factory's activities take place. So, to easy remember, cytoplasm is the workspace or the work area of the cell. And number 3, we have the nucleus. So, ang nucleus, ito yung control center of the cell. So, parang utak lang din natin na kung saan siya yung nagko-contain ng information and then siya yung nag-i-instruct. So, dito naman, siya yung parang boss or manager ng cell, which the nucleus contains the cell's DNA, which the DNA carries the instructions needed for the cell to function. So, ano naman yung function ng nucleus? It controls it controls the center, it contains DNA, and it directs protein synthesis. So, that is the 3 generalized cell structure. Now, pag-uusapan naman natin yung different parts of the different cell organelles and their structure and of course their primary function. So, ito siya. So, we have 13. Unahin muna natin plasma membrane. So, napag-usapan na natin to kanina. So, ang cell membrane ay made up of a thin phospholipid bilayer with proteins. So, para siyang gatekeeper ng cell because it protects the cell and controls kung ano ang pumapasok at lumalabas. So, yung sample natin, para siyang police. Na kung saan siya yung nag-guard doon sa cell at siya yung nagde-decide kung ano-ano yung papasok at lumalabas inside the cell. And number 2, cytoplasm. Siya naman ay yung isang jelly-like material sa loob ng ating cell na kung saan makikita ang mga organelles. And dito rin nangyayari ang maraming cellular reactions. And number 3, we have the nucleus, which the nucleus surrounded by a double membrane which contains the cell DNA. So ito ang control center ng cell because it gives instructions for different cell activities. Number 4, we have also the nucleolus. So I have here an illustration. So this is the nucleolus. Ang nucleolus class ay makikita sa loob ng nucleus. So ito ang part ng nucleus na kung saan responsible siya sa production ng ribosome. So function nito, production of ribosomes. So number 5, we have the ribosome. So kung makikita nyo dyan sa illustration, yung ribosomes is naka-attach siya mismo dito sa rare or the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So ano naman ang ribosome class? So ang ribosome ay very small structures made up of rRNA. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng rRNA? Ribosomal ribonucleic acid. Hindi lang siya gawa sa rRNA, kundi gawa din siya sa protein. So ano ba yung functions niya? Gumagawa siya ng protein na maaari silang mag-free floating or attach sa rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. So, napag-usapan na natin si ribosome. Next, we have also the rare or the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So, ang rare ay isang membrane network na may ribosomes attached sa surface kaya rough ang appearance niya. So, ano naman ang functions nito? Ang functions ni rare are it help makes, modify, and transport proteins. Yung protein na naiproproduce ni ribosome Si rare, siya naman ang tumutulong para gumawa, ma-modify at ma-transport yung mga proteins na naiproduce ni ribosome. Okay, kung merong rare, meron din tayong smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Ito siya. So, ang SER or SER is smooth endoplasmic reticulum ay similar lang din sa rare, pero wala nga lang itong ribosomes, kaya smooth yung itsura nito. So ano naman ang primary function nito? It helps make lipids, which those lipids help detoxify harmful substances and store calcium. And next, we have the Golgi apparatus. Ang Golgi apparatus class are made up of stock, flattened membrane sacs. Para siyang packaging and delivery center because nagmo-modify, gumagawa ng package ay nagde-distribute ng proteins and lipids. And next, we have the mitochondria. Mitochondria, ito siya. Ito, yung tatlo. This one, ito yung mitochondria. Ang mitochondria class ay meron siyang double membrane. At yung inner membrane, tinatawag natin siyang cristae. So ito, yung folded na part dito sa loob niya, yan yung tinatawag natin na cristae. So what is the function? Dito, mainly na-produce ang ATP or the energy of the cell. Ang ATP class is adenosine triphosphate. So in short, mitochondria provides the energy for the cell. Next, we have the lysosomes. So ang lysosomes ay membrane-bound sacs na may digestive enzymes. So para silang clean-up screw ng cell because they break down waste, pathogens, and damage cell parts. We have also peroxisomes. Ang peroxisomes ay small organelles na may enzymes for breaking down substances. So the main function of this class is they help detoxify harmful substances and break down fatty acids. Okay, we have also centrosome and centrioles. Ang centrosome, it contains a pair of cylindrical structures called the centrioles. So they help organize microtubules and are important for cell division. Sunod naman natin yung microtubules. So, ang microtubules ay isa siyang hollow tubes made up of tubulin proteins, which they help maintain the shape of the cell, transport materials, and form structures like cilia and flagella. Microtubules, okay, wala siya dito sa, ito, meron pala. So, ito yung microtubules. We have also microfilaments. Ang microfilaments naman ay thin fibers made mainly of actin protein, which they help support the cell and allow cell movement, and very important din siya sa muscle contraction ng cell. And next, we have the intermediate filaments. Ang intermediate filaments class ay rope-like protein fibers. Their main function is to provide strength and stability to the cell. In short, intermediate filament provides strength and stability to the cell. So, balik tayo dito para mas makita nyo. Okay, next is we have the cilia. Ano naman ang cilia? Ang cilia ay maraming short hair-like projections sa surface ng cell. So, they move fluids or particles across the cell surface. And next, we have the flagellum. Ang flagellum naman class ay isang long, whip-like projection. Its main function is to help the cell move or propel itself tulad ng mga sperm cell. So, ano ang different ng cilia and flagellum? Ang difference nila is ang cilia is parang siyang maliliit na strand ng buhok, while yung flagellum naman is yung mga long strand of a hair. And next, we have the vesicles. Ang vesicle class is small membrane-bound sacs. So, para silang nagde-deliver lang ng package ng cell because sila yung nag-i-store at nagtra-transport ng substance inside or outside the cell. So, I think we have here the vesicle. Saan ko nakita yung vesicle? Ito. Vesicle, the secretory vesicle, na kung saan siya yung nag-i-store at nagtra-transport ng mga substance na pumapasok or lumalabas sa loob ng cell. Okay. So when studying cell organelles, reminder lang class, always remember two things. Pag tinanong sa inyo, what does it look like? Kapag tinanong sa inyo yun, the answer of that is the structure. And what does it do? Siyempre, that is the function. Structure is ito yung itsura. Function is ito yung specific role or yung trabaho ng different cell organelles. So, nakuha natin yung different cell organelles and their functions. Now, proceed na tayo sa cell division. So, in cell division, we have two parts. We have the mitosis and the meiosis. Yung makikita nyo dito sa slide class, yan yung summarize or summarization of meiosis and the mitosis in cell division. So, before natin itackle ang major types ng cell division, pag-usapan muna natin, ano ba kasi ang ibig sabihin ng cell division? So, when we say cell division, this is the process by which one cell divides to form new cells. So it is important because our body needs cells for growth, repair, and reproduction. So for example, when you get a small cut on your skin, your body needs to make new cells to repair the damaged area. So this happens through cell division. So for example na lang, nasugatan tayo, and then paano siya nag-heal? It is because nang dahil sa mga naputus na bagong cells. And yung pangyayaring yun is nangyayari through cell division. And we have two major types of cell division. Una is the mitosis. Yung mitosis is for growth, repair, and replacement. And meiosis naman is for producing reproductive. So unahin natin si mitosis. So what is mitosis? Mitosis is a cell division that produces two identical cells. So it happens mainly in somatic cells, which means body cells. So ano ba yung mga body cells? Ito yung skin cells, muscle cells, and many other cells of our body. So imagine you have one cell and you need two cells that are exactly like the original one. Kasi ang mitosis class, meron siyang isang cells and sa isang cell na yun is nag-produce siya ng two identical cells or two daughter cells. So, bakit ba kinakailangan ng ating katawan ng mitosis? Na kailangan yon for growth, tissue repair, and cell replacement. Sa growth kasi class, as we grow from a baby into an adult, our body needs more cells for us to grow. Sa tissue repair naman, when tissues are damaged, mitosis produces new cells to replace damaged cells. So ito na yung example ko kanina na kapag nasugatan tayo, kaya siya nakikil, it is because of the new cells that are produced. And how about the cell replacement? So dito naman, some cells become old or damaged and need to be replaced with new ones. Hindi pwede na kapag na-damage yung cell is hindi siya mapapalitan. Kailangan siyang mapalitan ng bago para mag-function. So, what does mitosis produce? So, ang naproproduce ni mitosis, sinabi ko kanina, isang parent cell. And yung parent cell na yun is nagproproduce siya ng two daughter cells. And those two daughter cells are genetically identical to the parent cell and to each other cells. So, we all know na for humans, we have 46 chromosomes. So each daughter cell has 46 chromosomes in mitosis. So We have also the stages of mitosis and what we call the PMAT. So PMAT stands for prophase for P, M stands for metaphase, A stands for anaphase, and T stands for telophase. So ano ba yung nangyayari under prophase? So in prophase, the chromosomes become visible as the nucleus breakdown. So I have here an illustration. So ito siya, yung stages ng ating mitosis and cell division. So prophase, as you can see, yung chromosomes is nagiging visible and yung nucleus is nag-start na siyang nagbe-breakdown. So, ibig sabihin, nag-prepare sila. And how about the metaphase? As you can see in the illustration, the chromosomes now line up in the middle of the cell. And anaphase, the sister chromatids are pulled toward opposites of the cell. So, para silang nagsina, naghiwalay yung sister chromatids ng chromosomes. And we have also the telophase. So, in the telophase, dito na nag-start na nabubuo ng dalawang nuclei, which now form a chromosomes. So, hindi pa ito yung last stage. We have also the cytokinesis in which the cytoplasm divides, producing two separate daughter cells. Kaya, in the process of cytokinesis, the cells will now split into two and doon na nag-reproduce ng two daughter cells. So, yun yung process ni mitosis in the cell division. Next, we have also meiosis. Let's go back. So we have here meiosis again. The meiosis naman class is a special type of cell division that produces reproductive cells or gametes. So pag sinabi nating reproductive cells or gametes, ito yung sperm cell or egg cell. So meiosis, it occurs in the reproductive organs. So in human, the male gametes is what we call the sperm cell, and the female gamete is what we call the egg cell. So why is meiosis very important? It is because its main purpose is to produce gametes for sexual reproduction. And ano naman yung naproproduce ni meiosis? So meiosis starts with one cell containing 46 chromosomes and produces cells containing only 23 chromosomes. So why only 23? Bakit? It is because when a sperm and egg join during fertilizations, the 23 chromosomes from sperm cell plus 23 chromosomes from the egg cell, pag yun nag-join together, makakabuo sila ng 1 chromosomes which ang bilang niya is, makakabuo sila ng 1 cell which contain 46 chromosomes, in which this restores the normal chromosome number. So we have also the stage sa meiosis, the meiosis 1 and the meiosis 2. So unahin natin yung first division, which is the meiosis 1. So PMAT din, pero prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and the telophase 1 plus the cytokinesis. So sa meiosis 1 kasi class, ang isang cell na may 46 chromosomes ay naghahanda para hatiin yung chromosomes pairs. So ang pangunahing nangyayari dito ay separation ng homologous chromosomes. So, unahin natin sa prophase 1. Si prophase 1, dito nagpa-pair ang homologous chromosome. So, maaari ring magkaroon ng crossing over kung saan nagpapalitan ang genetic material and chromosomes. Ito ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit genetically different ang magiging cell. Next stage is the metaphase 1. So dito naman, ang chromosomes pairs ay naka-line up sa gitna ng cell. Parang yung nangyayari lang din doon sa mitosis kanina in the metaphase stage. Nag-prepare sila at nagla-line up sila mismo sa gitna. And next is the anaphase 1. So in anaphase 1, ang homologous chromosomes ay naghihiwalay at pumupunta doon sa opposite sides ng cell. So, ang importante nating tandaan dito, hindi pa naghihiwalay ang sister chromatids dito. Ang tatandaan lang natin, homologous chromosomes separate, not the sister chromatids. Now, we have the telophase 1 and the cytokinesis, which is the last stage in meiosis 1. Dito na naghahati ang cell into two cells. So, each cell now have 23 chromosomes, pero duplicated pa yung chromosomes dito. So, yung result ng meiosis 1, one cell is equal to two cells. So, yung each cells has 23 chromosomes, but each chromosome still consists of two chromatids. Now, proceed na tayo doon sa second division or the meiosis 2. Sa meiosis 2 naman, ang dalawang cells na nabuo sa meiosis 1 ay magdi-divide ulit. Kasi sabi nga natin, sa meiosis is nagproproduce siya ng 4 daughter cells. So this time, ang naghihiwalay naman ay ang sister chromatids. Di ba sa meiosis 1 is hindi pa naghihiwalay yung sister chromatids. Pero ngayon, sa meiosis 2, dito na nagsisimulang maghihiwalay yung sister chromatids. So, ang importante nating tandaan dito sa meiosis 2, walang bagong DNA replication bago magsimula ang meiosis 2. So, proceed tayo. So, first stage, which is the prophase 2. Ang nangyayari dito, ang chromosomes ay muling nagiging visible at naghahanda ang cells para sa second division. Parang ganun lang din. Naulit lang yung pangyayari. Pero meron na kasi itong dalawang cells or two daughter cells. Sa metaphase 2 naman, ang chromosomes ay nakaline up uli sa gitna ng bawat cell. Ganun lang din. Nakaline up sila sa gitna ng cell. And then next, we have the anaphase 2. Ngayon, dito na nagsisimulang nagse-separate yung sister chromatids na pumupunta doon sa opposite sides of the cell. And the last stage is the telophase 2 plus cytokinesis. Ang bawat cell ay nakahati ulit at dahil dalawang cells ang nagsisimula sa meiosis 2, magiging 4 cells na ang final result. So class, isipin natin na ang meiosis ay 2 rounds of division. Sa meiosis 1, ang chromosomes pairs ang naghihiwalay. Pagkatapos, sa meiosis 2, ang sister chromatids naman ang naghihiwalay. Kaya mula sa iisang cell, magiging 4 genetically different cells, each with 23 chromosomes. So these cells will eventually function as reproductive cells or gametes. So para mas maintindihan natin, meron ako ditong video. Okay, let's watch para mas maintindihan natin yung meiosis in the cell division. Okay. So, yung video na pinakita ko sa inyo that is all about meiosis 2 in cell division. Kung paano nga ba nangyayari yung meiosis. Sorry, meiosis pala. So, para mas maintindihan natin ang difference ng mitosis and meiosis, pag sinabing mitosis, it makes more body cells, in which those body cells is for the growth, tissue repairs, and cell replacement. And for meiosis naman, it makes reproductive cells. So, yung mga reproductive cells na yun is the egg cell and the sperm cell. So, susunod naman natin yung transport mechanisms of cell. So, we have the passive and the active transport. So, cells need to take in nutrients and oxygens and remove waste products. To do this, substances must move through plasma membrane. So, think of the cell membrane as a gate that controls what goes in and out. So, there are two major types of transport. So, yan, the passive and the active transport. So, unahin muna natin si passive transport. So, pag sinabing transport, it is the movement of substances across the cell membrane without using cellular energy. So, hindi niya kinakailangan ng energy. So, yung substance generally move from high concentration to low concentration. So, parang going downhill. So, as you can see, dyan sa ating illustration. So, for example na lang dito, class, is imagine spraying a perfume in one corner of a room. At first, there is a high concentration of perfume molecules near the spray. So, eventually, they spread toward areas where there are fewer molecules. So, in this one, no energy from the cell is needed. So, yung example natin, class, kasi di ba kapag nag-i-spray tayo ng perfume, sa una is malakas yung amoy. Lalo na kapag yung perfume mo is yung mamahalin. Yung talagang yung amoy niya is sobrang malakas na nakakasakit na din ng ilong. Pero, pag yung nag-spread toward areas or throughout the corner, is parang siyang mag-disappear. And that is why nagiging low na yung concentration ng perfume. Parang ganun din yung nangyayari dito sa sa passive transport. And of course, we have the types of passive transport. Unahin natin si diffusion. So diffusion is the movement of molecules from high concentration to low concentration. In simple words, kapag maraming molecules sa isang area, naturally silang lilipat papunta sa area na mas kaunti ang molecules. So in this, no ATP or energy is needed. And number two, we have the facilitated diffusion. So ang facilitated diffusion ay similar lang din naman sa diffusion because molecules still move from high to low concentration. Yung difference lang nila is kailangan ng transport protein para makadaan sa cell membrane. Parang may door or passageway na tumutulong sa kanila. Pero hindi rin niya kinakailangan ng ATP or energy. In short, facilitated is equal to high to low concentration plus protein. And osmosis. Eh, syempre, pag sinabi natin osmosis, ito ay water. Ang osmosis ay movement ng water across a selectively permeable membrane. In simple terms, water moves toward the side with more solute. Kaya kapag narinig ninyo ang osmosis, ang unang isipin ninyo ay water movement. And next, we have also the filtration. So, in filtration, ay movement ng water and small substances through a membrane dahil sa pressure. Parang may pressure na natutulak ng substances through a filter. So, a good example nito, class, is yung kidney natin. So, yung kidney natin, doon nangyayari yung blood pressure, which yung blood pressure helps filter water and small substances. So infiltration, in short, is equal to pressure. Next, we have naman yung active transport. So kabaliktaran lang naman ito ni passive. Ang active transport class, pero ang active transport, kinakailangan ito ng cellular energy or the ATP to move substances across the membrane. So kabaliktaran niya dito is yung passive is from high to low. Ito naman is from low concentration to high concentration. So parang going uphill, as you can see in our illustration, yung parang naglalakad ka lang pataas sa up. So, syempre, para makapunta tayo dun sa pinaka-top, kailangan natin ng energy. So, for example, imagine you are carrying a ball from bottom of the hill to the top. So, yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. So, you need energy to do it. Kasi kung wala kang energy, hindi ka makakapunta doon sa taas. Similarly, the cell uses ATP to move substances against their concentration gradient. So, we have also the types of active transport. Una dyan is the sodium-potassium pump. Ang sodium-potassium pump ay isang transport protein na gumagamit ng ATP or energy para ilipat ang sodium at potassium across the cell membrane. So usually, 3 sodium ions ang lumalabas and 2 potassium ions naman ang pumapasok. Important, ito ay para panatilihin ang proper ion balance, especially sa nerve impulses and muscle contractions of the cell. So, yun ang sodium-potassium pump ni active transport. And also, we have the endocytosis. Ang endocytosis ay kapag ang cell ay kumukuha ng materials papasok. So, the cell membrane surrounds the material and forms a small sac and called it a vesicle. So, para mas madali nating maintindihan, endocytosis ay kumukuha ng materials papasok sa loob ng cell. So, under endocytosis, meron din siyang parts, which is phagocytosis, pinocytosis, and receptor-mediated endocytosis. So, si phagocytosis class ay ang pagkuha ng large particles or solid materials ng cell. Parang cell eating, sila yung kumakain ng mga substances sa loob ng cells. For example, si white blood cells can undergo bacteria. Kaya tinatawag silang cell eating. And then si pinocytosis naman ay ang pagkuha ng fluids and dissolved substances ng cell. So, in short, para silang cell drinking. Kung si phagocytosis, cell eating, si pinocytosis is cell drinking. And receptor mediated endocytosis naman, ang specific substances lang ang kinukuha ng cell. So may receptor sa cell membrane na parang lock. At ang tamang substances ang parang key. So para mas maintindihan, receptor mediated is specific substances lang ang kinukuha sa loob ng cell. And next types of active transport is the exocytosis. Ito naman ay opposite ni endocytosis. Instead na kumuha siya ng substances, ang cell naman ay naglalabas ng substances outside the cell. So a vesicle moves toward the cell membrane, fuses with it, and releases its content. So example, it includes the releases of hormones, neurotransmitter, and digestive enzymes. So para mas maintindihan, pag sinabi nating endocytosis is siya yung pumapasok na substances, and exocytosis, naglalabas ng substances doon mismo sa loob ng cell. So, that is all about the parts of active transport. Now let us proceed to tissue. So tissue is a group of similar cells that work together to perform a specific function. So for example, think of your body like a building. So isipin natin na parang building itong ating katawan, in which yung cells, these are the individual workers of building materials. And yung tissues natin, sila yung group of workers doing the same job of the cell, and organs naman, ito yung structures made from different groups of tissue. And the human body has 4 major types of tissue. So yung types ng tissue, we have the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and the nervous tissue. So ito siya. So unahin muna natin si epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, it covers and protects the body and lines internal organs. So ang function nito, for protection, secretion, absorption, and filtration. So, simple is one layer of cells. So, meron tayong parts ng epithelial tissue. We have the simple. So, ang simple class is, ito yung pinaka-layer ng ating cells. And yung stratified is the several layers. And yung special types is the transitional and pseudo-stratified. Para mas maintindihan natin ano ba si epithelial tissue, siya yung covering ng ating internal. Siya yung covers and protects our body. So, siya yung ating skin. How about connective tissue? So, the function of this is supports, connects, protect, and transport materials in our body. So, for example na lang ito is yung ating loose and dense connective tissue, our cartilage and our bone, and our blood and lymph. Pag sinabing connective tissue, siya yung nagsusupport sa ating katawan. And next, we have the muscle tissue. The muscle tissue naman class, it helps the body move and produces heat. So in muscle tissue, meron tayong parts dyan, which is the skeletal, cardiac, and the smooth. The skeletal tissue is siya yung voluntarily move the body, while the cardiac, involuntary siya, which is nahanap natin siya in the heart. And we have also the smooth, this isa din siyang involuntary tissue, which is nahanap natin siya sa internal organs. Kapag sinabing muscle tissue, movement. And lastly, we have the nervous tissue na kung saan ang nervous tissue, it helps our body communicate, coordinate, and responds to stimuli. Ang nervous tissue, it contains neurons and neuroglia na kung saan ang neurons ang nagsisend ng nerve signals. Ang neuroglia naman siya ang nagsusupport at nagproprotect doon sa neurons. And palaging tandaan, pag sinabing nervous tissue or nervous, sa yung communication sa ating body. So for us to easy to understand, pag sinabing epithelial, ang main function nito is to cover, protect, absorb, and secrete. In short, covering. Pag connective tissue naman, main function is to support, connect, protect, and transport. So, simple, support. And muscle, is ito yung function, ang function niya is the movement and heat production of our body. In short, movement. Pag nervous tissue is the function, communication, and the coordination of our body. In short, communication. So, epithelial is the covering, connective is support, muscle is movement, and nervous is for communication. Next, we have our glands. Ito pala yung structure layering ng yung ating tissue kanina, the epithelial tissue class, nakalimutan kong pinakita. And proceed na po tayo sa ating glands. Sa glands, wait class. Ito, glands. Sa glands natin, ito yung structures na nagpo-produce and nagre-release ng substances na kinakailangan ng ating body. So, we have the skin glands. Ang skin glands are found mainly in the dermis and siya yung nagpo-produce ng sweat or oil ng ating katawan. So, unahin natin si sweat glands. Sweat glands are otherwise known as sudoriferous glands. So, these glands siya yung nagpo-produce ng ating sweat. Or in Ilocano, ito yung tinatawag nating lingkit. And ayun na-produce yung sweat is the eccrine glands and apocrine glands. So, ang eccrine glands produce sweat to cool the body when we are hot or exercising, while apocrine glands found mainly in the armpits and growing. Their secretions can contribute to body odor when bacteria break down. So, eccrine glands nagpo-produce ng sweat para ma-cool down yung ating katawan. Ang apocrine glands, mainly ito yung mga sweat na natatagpuan natin sa ating mga armpits. Na kung saan siya yung nagpo-contribute or nagpo-produce ng body odor. And next, we have the sebaceous glands or our oil glands. So these glands produce sebum, an oily substance that keeps the skin and hair soft and prevents them from drying out. So, pag sinabi nating sebaceous, ito yung oil glands. Summary, eccrine glands produce sweat to cool down the body, and apocrine produce sweat for body odor, and sa sebaceous naman, produce oil for soft skin and hair. So, that is all about the glands. Next, we have also the membranes. Parang baliktad. Tama, baliktad na siya. Ito, yung membrane naman natin, yung pag-usapan natin. Okay, ang body membrane, these are the thin layers of tissue that cover, line, or protect different parts of our body. So there are 4 main types of body membranes. We have the cutaneous, mucous, serous, and the synovial. So unahin natin si cutaneous membrane. So, ang cutaneous membrane is ito yung ating skin na kung saan ang function nito, siya yung nagko-cover and nagpo-protect sa ating katawan. And ano naman itong mucous membrane or the mucosa? So these membranes lines passages that open the outside of the body, such as the digestive, respiratory, urinary, and the reproductive tracts. Ano yung function? It protects and produces mucus to keep the lining moist. And next, we have the serous membrane or the serosa. So these membranes covers internal organs and lines certain body cavities. So meron siyang 2 layers, the parietal layer and the visceral layer. So ang parietal layer sa yung lines of the body cavity and yung visceral layer naman, siya yung directly nagko-cover ng organ. So the serous membrane also produces a small amount of fluid that reduces friction between organs as they move. And lastly, we have the synovial membrane. These membranes lines movable joints such as the knee and elbow. Ano ang function? Produces synovial fluid which lubricates the joint and helps it move smoothly. So, siya yung tumutulong sa ating joint para ma-move natin ng mabuti or magaan yung ating paa. Kasi, ang synovial membrane, siya yung nagpo-produce ng synovial fluid. para smoothly yung paggalaw ng ating mga joints. So, that is all about the main types, the 4 main types of our body membrane. And lastly, we are going to tackle on how to prevent skin problems. So we all know naman that ang pinaka-most problema natin sa skin is, most especially sa face, is pimples or acne and mga skin diseases or mga, ano tawag dito? Skin infection. So how to prevent skin problems such as acne, dermatitis, pressure injuries, fungal infections, and other skin infections can often be prevented through proper skin care. So, proper skin care. Hindi porket skincare, marami tayong skincare na ginagamit. So, dapat ang skincare na ginagamit natin, yung hiyang din ng ating katawan or yung ating skin para ma-prevent natin yung different skin problems. Kasi kapag different skincare ang ginagamit natin, mas pinapalala niya lang ating skin problems, lalo na kapag hindi yung products at malakas ang chemical na naihalo dito. So, simple preventive measures to prevent skin problems. Una is to keep clean. Ibig sabihin, bathe regularly and use mild soap. Ibig sabihin, maligo araw-araw. And next is keep skin dry, especially skin folds to prevent fungal infection. Number 3 is to drink enough water for us to help keeps our body and keep skin hydrated. Kasi kapag hindi hydrated yung ating skin, hindi siya healthy tignan. And then number 4 is eat a balanced diet. So eat foods rich in vitamins A, C, and E. Hindi yung mga pagkain na more on fats. Like yung mga junk foods, dapat hindi tayo masyado sa mga yun. Ano pa, mga fast food. Dapat kumain tayo ng balanced diet like mga gulay and meat, protein, yung mga yon. And also class, please, usong-uso po ang UTI, kaya iwasan din po natin pag-inom masyado ng maraming mga soda drinks or mga soft drinks. Mas maganda po na palagi tayong uminom ng maraming tubig kaysa sa mga soft drinks. And also use sunscreen. Ang sunscreen ay mahalaga din sa atin because it protects the skin from harmful UV rays. And take note, ang paggamit ng sunscreen siguraduhin yang ng iyong skin. And next, change position regularly. Ang ibig sabihin nito is reposition bedridden patients about every 2 hours to help prevent pressure injuries. So, ito naman is para sa mga pasyente natin na bedridden. So, para mas maprotektahan sila, kailangan din natin na i-change yung position nila. And then, wear clean clothes. Ito rin yung isa sa mga pinaka-importante. Change clothes regularly and avoid sharing towels, clothes, or other personal items. Kung bakit kinakailangan natin mag-change regularly ng damit para makaiwas ng skin problems. Hindi lang skin problems, syempre, mga bacteria din na pumapasok sa ating katawan. Dahil lang tinatamad kang maglaba, susuot mo na ulit yung damit na sinuot mo kahapon. No, you need to change regular. And then moisturize. You use moisturizers to prevent dry and cracked skin. Gumamit din po tayo ng mga lotion or moisturizer. And lastly, check the skin regularly. So always din natin i-check po yung skin natin. Look for redness, bone swellings, or signs of infection para mas maagapan po natin sila or para mas maagapan po natin kaagad. Huwag po natin pabayaan yung ating katawan. So, reminder students, keep your skin clean, dry, protected, and check. Okay, so ito yung end ng ating summary. This module discusses cell as a basic unit of life, including the structures, functions, and cell division. It also covered cell transport, tissues, skin glands, and body membranes, including how to prevent common skin problems. So in simple terms, we learned how cell works, how they form tissues, and how the skin protects our body. So this is the end of our discussion. Alam kong medyo complicated and mahaba siya, pero hope na may naiintindihan kayo or may nakuha kayong aral sa ating discussion.